Let's get to it. Scott Carruthers and Stifel Nicholas. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Doing very well. Good morning, McGraw.
All right. Yesterday we were up a little bit. Any big news yesterday?
Lots of big news. Yesterday, the Dow was up 27 points to 25,998, just below the 26,000 mark. The NASDAQ edged lower, weighed down by a decline in Apple, while Dow and the S&P recovered earlier losses. Treasury yields were steady after strong demand at the 10-year note auction. A fall in U.S. crude inventories pushed oil prices higher, and gold rose as the dollar weakened against a basket of major currencies. And the 10-year U.S. Treasury stayed, up a little bit to 2.966.
Good. All right, let's start with Qualcomm. It's an interesting company. What's going on there?
Yes, Qualcomm said it would buy back about $16 billion of its common stock as part of a previously announced $30 billion stock repurchase plan. Qualcomm is seeking to compensate investors for the collapse of its $44 billion acquisition of NXP Semiconductors in July due to Chinese opposition. Qualcomm, which is a U.S. chip maker, one thing you're seeing, McGraw, is more and more companies are buying back their own stock, which is making those companies more valuable.
Yeah,
more valuable. So
yeah, a lot of that tax overhaul. These companies are flush with cash, and they're going to buying back their own stock. What are we hearing from Volkswagen?
Now, Volkswagen revealed its plans about starting to use the HP metal printing technology for manufacturing selected parts, which include gear knobs and custom tailgate lettering. The company unveiled its plans that it wants to mass-produce structural parts, making use of the technology within the next 2 to 3 years. The big benefit of using 3D printing is that it permits them to produce many of these parts without need of making, any manufacturing tools. And they already have 90 3D printers in their plant, so they can just walk right in and start making them.
So you're going to buy a 3D printed Volkswagen car in the not too distant future.
Oh, I know. Yeah, they're not doing it to print the whole car yet. So
right. Yeah. Well, yeah.
Just some parts.
Just some
parts.
But
they did say they could do. They're going to be able to, print like a piston for the engine.
Yeah. No, I believe it. No, that's pretty amazing. That stuff is pretty scientific. It's science fiction. Finally, what are we hearing from Hershey? Now,
Hershey said it would buy pirate brands from B&G Foods for $420 million in an all-cash deal. The deal is expected to be accretive to earnings. Hershey has been diversifying into snacks as more Americans opt for healthier snacks over sugary candies and chocolates. So that makes that makes sense why they diversify into that area.
Sure. How are we looking at the markets today, Scott Carruthers?
Well, today the futures look up 58 points right now on the Dow. A report from the U.S. Labor Department is likely to show the consumer price index rose 0.3% in August after 0.2% rise in July. The core CPI, which excludes the volatile food and energy components, is also forecasting having risen 0.2% in August, matching July's increase. And the Treasury Department is expected to report a budget deficit of $156.5 billion for August, following July's deficit of $77 billion. So that's the bad thing about what happens in the economy and the budget deficit.
Yes,
when
economy's booming, but the deficit is also booming as well.
That's the biggest problem.
Yeah, Scott Carruthers, have yourself a good day. Thanks for checking in. We'll do it all again tomorrow.
Sounds great. Thanks.